So with Hyrule Warriors right around the corner, I can't help but feel my Zelda senses tingling as we make our way closer to the release. A lot of footage has been circulating around the internet, and while I've been keeping myself relatively spoiler-free in terms of plot, I have noticed many a thing. Now, if you want to ignore this theory-type video, because I'm a Zelda fan and I craft my own little theories, feel free to skip. I have other content on the channel. If you don't want to look at anything and don't like who I am, nice seeing ya. Goodbye. But, for those of you who are interested in a little bit of fun, and obviously theories can be proven wrong or right, or they could never have anything go with them at all, I just want to state what I feel here. Alright, so we look at Hyrule Warriors and we see that officially it is in another universe, another dimension actually, and has been declared non-canon. Okay. Well, not necessarily non-canon. Moreover, it is declared. Non-canon is probably the best word. So, in this whole other dimension, we can have different things. Now, they're pulling from the different times, right? They're pulling from the various games that happened in its own separate dimension. We have the Ocarina of Time dimension, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess. So, looking at this now with very little references to any other games, it seems that Hyrule Warriors, the dimension that it takes place in, doesn't have two of the timelines. It only supports the child timeline, with Twilight Princess in the mix, and that's just character-wise too. So you gotta wonder about that. So, theoretically, in the timeline space, Hyrule Warriors could take place after Twilight Princess at some point. I'm not going to count the Four Sword Adventures game in that timeline for now, so let's just pretend that Hyrule Warriors takes place before Four Swords, but after Twilight Princess, if we look at a theoretic timeline. Now, this is going to sound weird. I know, hearing that the other timelines don't exist isn't exactly something you want to hear in most cases, but hear me out on the little bits and pieces I've been able to draw out here. So, looking at all this stuff, you'll notice that, well, the games they support mostly are before the split. So we have Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time that are two of the big supporters. The other supporter is Twilight Princess, which takes place in the child timeline. Now, the other game that's really big mentioned, and it's still lightly mentioned, is Majora's Mask, which has you pulling the moon from the sky into the ground. That's still in the child timeline, so we're still there. Now, I know you might look at the Wind Waker's baton, the conductor's baton as it's called, and think, oh, but Wind Waker is supported, so clearly it has to exist. Not necessarily. You see, the Wind Waker's conductor's baton, according to the legend of Wind Waker itself, was used before Wind Waker even happened. It was used far, far, far in the past as a method of contacting the gods. It still theoretically happened during and before Ocarina of Time. With that being said, nothing inside at all of the Wind Waker and below timeline is there. The only thing really mentioned is the Wind Waker's conductor's baton. So you gotta, I mean, that's big news. Now, in terms of the other games, we have references to them with the Link Dies timeline. We have the 8-bit sword that's kind of a chuckle, and Adventure Mode. But Adventure Mode, like, doesn't even go on off of the storyline. It's just a reference in terms of a game mode. It's a 1-to-1 scale of the Hyrule it wasn't even called Hyrule at that point, of the world in the original Legend of Zelda. But that's it. It's just a scale. It doesn't have anything to do with plot, and in theory, I guess you could use that to say, hey, there's that timeline in there too. Shush your mouth. I disagree. Based on characters, based on everything, Hyrule Warriors takes place in the child timeline after Twilight Princess. I don't know what else to say, honestly. This is just something that popped in my head, and whether you disagree or agree, or if you're, thinking one way or another, let me know in the comments below. If you think I'm a total moron, I guess you can say that too, though I'd appreciate it if you didn't all the same. I've been Avi of Chaotic Reunion, and I hope to see you all in the next one.